Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
Let's do this. Josh, I bet you didn't expect I was actually going to be ready when you finished your countdown.
Part of me thought you were.
Didn't I?
I trusted you.
You trusted me? Wow, that's brave and bold.
I was brave, it was.
You are a brave soul.
Yes, I am.
You know, it's just, when I think of Josh, I think of brave.
I don't.
And I think of bold.
I don't.
You don't.
For myself, no, I don't think that.
Why not?
I think of cowardly and socially anxious. Mostly my social anxiety is what I meant by cowardice.
Oh, well, I mean, I was gonna say, don't we all have a little bit of social anxiety? But I don't know if that's true.
I think there is a. I don't know if it's just because of like our modern era or something, but yes, I think everybody has a little bit of social anxiety.
Yeah, and COVID definitely has not made it better.
No,
that's for sure.
It definitely is not.
It's been like a year of not socializing, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then when you go back, you're like, what have I forgotten? What do I need to remember to do? Like, your social anxiety forgets what you're supposed to be worried about, and you're like, everything can be an issue. What am I supposed to worry about? So then you worry about everything.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Well, my lukewarm open somewhat has to do with this in a weird, twisted roundabout way.
Okay.
So I was looking at my social media the other day, specifically Facebook. Do you use Facebook anymore? Probably not, I'm assuming.
No, I mean, I use it for Messenger, but nothing other than that.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I use it for. But I was on Facebook yesterday because I was looking at my profile because I haven't changed my profile in like, I don't know, 5 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was looking through like all my likes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And all my like movies that I like and things like in my profile, my about section. And I stumbled across a section that was my favorite movie.
Uh-huh.
And what was interesting is I remember what I put as my favorite movie on Facebook, which I put Gladiator, because this has to do with social anxiety a little bit. When I was in middle school / high school, I was afraid to be seen as like a super nerd. So I put Gladiator because it's like a cool fighting movie, but it's also kind of like a cool movie, you know?
Yeah, like fantasy, like you it's that kind of medievalness feel to it. Fighting with weapons.
Yeah, but it's not like Lord of the Rings or, you know.
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
So I put Gladiator.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like one of those ones that people normally think of as nerdy, but you can still nerd out about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now I'm out as a proud nerd, so, I mean, I'm as nerdy as possible. And everyone I meet knows that I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
So I'm over it now, but it got me thinking, how would you run, like, a Gladiator arena or a Gladiator tournament?
Well, I mean, I've done a few arena things, but not really gladiator based.
Ooh, who would you like put in it? Like what type of person or creature or something would you put in an arena?
You have to think about, like, if you want to do it one-on-one gladiator style, that's really hard to do and make it interesting for the party. Unless it's like a huge character moment for that one character, and you want it to be like where like everybody focusing on this one character doesn't feel weird, because like with the Grog fighting those people, it was like this huge character moment and this thing. But so that's why I always have it be at least like I try to make it like a team arena battle thing, so all the people can be involved. But
we're just so happening to have an arena with the exact amount of people in your party.
You have 6 players? Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. But now that I think about it, it would be interesting to do like 2 teams of 3, and like maybe even have them go, like, if they win their battles, they go against each other, and so like they.
Oh, yikes!
That would be interesting, but
that'd be kind of fun actually. I've never thought about.
I hadn't thought about it before.
Like running a half and half.
One of the interesting things to think about, especially for like once you get to higher levels, like I don't want anything in the world to just feel like, I just had to find something that would fit your CR so that I could throw it against you. Like, so, so in the arena, I have to think about what they could actually like reasonably obtain or work with to like fight the party that would actually give them a challenge. So as you get to higher levels, like the only things challenging them are like dragons and things, and you're like, I don't think that this arena in this random town has a dragon.
Yep. We just happened to find one roaming in the desert, and we just captured it.
Mm-hmm. And so what I actually had happened,
clipped its wings, and now it can't fly out of the arena.
That would be interesting. They got it early and they clipped its wings so that it wouldn't.
They clipped its wings so it couldn't fly, and now it's like.
I mean, that's horrible, but it's also interesting.
It's super terrible.
But one of the things I just thought, one of the things I did in my game is they faced the arena and they like just demolished. They were super powerful in comparison to all the other regular level people.
Rip.
But no, it was still like fun encounters and stuff, because they were like they only had them planned to do one fight. And they're like, hey, if you want to keep going, we could throw someone else at you. So before they even had a chance to rest, they just threw someone else in the ring. So it actually became a hard fight because they had just had to keep going, no rest.
So like just a bunch
it actually
of
made it interesting.
Fights over and over.
When they won that, I had the kind of arena people be like, okay, we got to, like, these people might come back. We got to get something bigger. So it made sense that they were able to make a deal with or procure something that could face these guys next time they came in. And so when they came in later, they had like this, they had made a deal with a Death Knight. And so, well, because they were
kind of a rough thing for an arena.
It was, but they were planned to make so much money on that fight that like they could make it worth the Death Knight's time to like help them, because like these people had made a name for themselves defeating all of these past champions pretty much. Like there was a bunch of people just aching for them to fight again. So when they came back in town, they had an actual challenge at this arena. And the Death Knight, because he's a Death Knight, could get strong allies with them as well. So I had like...
what are they, like CR 15 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so it was...
Or is it CR 18? Might even be higher.
I think it's 15. Almost 100% sure it's 15.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I did it.
I have like a whole huge arena thing in my world that is called Champions Clash, which I think I've told you a little bit about.
Yeah, you've told me a lot about this. I like Champions Clash. It sounds cool. I mean, it's the whole premise.
It's really fun. It's more of like a almost like a battle royale game, I guess you could say. Like you are essentially there are three stages within the Champions Clash. The first stage is they like drop you in like the Underdark, or they drop you in a jungle or something like that, and you have to survive and knock out other teams until you can advance into the tournament phase. And then once you're in the tournament phase, you go to the second stage, which is you fight monsters in the arena in front of a crowd, until a certain amount of teams lose. And then once there are a certain amount of teams left, they fight each other. So that's how Champions Clash works.
Yeah.
Which I really like, because it's really fun, because it kind of breaks up the monotony of arena over and over and over again, because it constantly changes and shit.
Yeah.
And like for the arenas themselves, they can like almost like a Pokemon gym league, where like the arenas can shift so that they can change.
Is that the
to,
one
like,
that the two
arenas.
The like Mages College fight in, or is that somebody different?
Say that again?
Is that the thing that the Mage College fights in, or is that something
No,
different?
That's different.
That's still an arena-like thing. It's still like
the Arcane Academy. Arcane Academy is split up, at least in Estole. It's split up into based on class. So wizard, sorcerer, bard, stuff like that. And wizards and sorcerers have traditionally ruled over the academy. However, only one group rules over the academy at a certain time. And so what they do every year is they gather their chosen champions and they fight to see which group can rule over the academy for that year. And then for that, they can't do anything dramatic, so they can't, like, no sorcerers allowed anymore in the academy, so they can't do like that kind of stuff when they gain rulership. But it's a reference to in the old ancient history of Estole, which is a nation in my world. Essentially how part of it like broke off and became this like dead, destroyed island, I guess, is that there was a wizard and a sorcerer who essentially hated each other's guts, and they made these giant, powerful armies to fight and attack each other and for rulership over this island. And they ended up killing each other and creating this thing called the Arcane Desolation, which is just like a wasteland full of undead and terrible creatures. And so the Arcane Academy kind of not reenacts it, but remembers the destruction and chaos through this event to see who can rule over the academy, much like they tried to do for Over the Island.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
that's not in the current continent you're in right now as a player. So.
Yeah. Now I looked up Death Knight and it's 17. So you were close.
17. Yeah, I was like it's somewhere in between 15 and 18 if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but when I run arenas, it's mostly only low levels unless I do like Champions Clash is a little bit better because you can throw them into like the Underdark and you can get like, kind of make up crazy beasties that roam the Underdark or whatever. And then when you get to like them fighting other parties like in the tournament phase, then you can have like, if they're level 15, you can have another level 15 group fight with them against them, So 4 level 15 characters versus 4 level 15 characters or whatever. So that usually works, but I hate having that many really powerful people in my world. So I don't like it when there's a tournament full of people who are level 15.
Yeah.
When in the world, that's not really a thing.
Well, I think I'm going to cut off the lukewarm open here.
It's only been 12 minutes.
Yeah. And now we're going to jump into the topic. So, like we talked about last week, I'm going to be looking into topics that interest me more because I believe my excitement in them will aid the episodes rather than detract. Now, I'd known about this topic for a while and was reminded of it because the wonderful game Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139 just came out.
What?
Now, it's called Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
I know that
that's
game.
in the same game series
I know that
as Nier
specific
Automata
version, yes.
or Nier Automata. Now, this game is a remaster-ish of the original Nier game. Now, I looked at a lot of topics related to Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139, like the like the floating book that talked and had a soul of a person, or the young man who became a skeleton man. But I think the topic I chose is the best one for us to really dive into and develop what happened with the major deity and how that affected
Skeleton
and
Man
changed
sounds
the
like
world.
a good name for a song. Skeleton Man.
I always like to have, whether it's visual or just cultural changes, when major events happen in like the history. So I want the party to hear about the event culturally before learning of what the event was. Like through the game, they've celebrated festivals or seen the scar on the map or whatever, but it's just something to indicate that this major event happened previously. So we're actually going to talk about Drakengard and how it created the world of Nier, which Nier is the Nier Replicant and Nier Automata or Automata. Now,
Drakengard?
Drakengard. Yeah. Now let's start with how are the two connected. They're both developed by the company Cavia and led by creative director Taro Yoko. Now, Taro Yoko is actually incredible at what they do and really had a vision with these games. And even his joke that he threw in really took on a life of its own in the end. Now, what is Drakengard? I'm going to summarize this very roughly. I've never played this game. It's like a dragon riding game where you kind of fight things atop different mounts. Now, Taro Yoko wanted to make the game stand out amongst other Square Enix games. So they decided to make the game have a darker tone than the other games with morally gray main cast and rough stories.
Is this like a
It's
do you know
PS2,
if it's like a
Xbox
first-person
original.
RPG type thing or what?
No, I believe it's a rhythm action game, but don't quote me on that. Now, it is actually heavily influenced by Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I have never watched because I don't really like watching mech animes and European folklore. Now, Drakengard
Chris loves that anime.
Yeah, a lot of people do. It's like it's known as like one of the best animes. Now, Drakengard, like the Nier games, have endings all correlating to numbers and letters. The Nier Automata actually has 26 endings for each letter of the alphabet. Now, the most important one for us to look at for Drakengard is ending E. Now, this ending wasn't actually developed like the rest. It was actually made by a small group of developers as a joke and an homage to the movie based on the Neon Genesis anime called The End of Evangelion. This was only revealed to the rest of the Drakengard team at the end of development, and it actually irritated some, but it was still included in the end. It ended up becoming the most famous ending due to its weird premise and its physically disconnection from the rest of the game. In the end,
Classic.
The love for ending E Taro saw made them use it for their next game, Nier. So what is ending E? In ending E, the protagonist and dragon are facing the enemy of the game and fly in to attack, only for them to be teleported to another world facing the giant. Thanks to a not-so-subtle screen saying the words Tokyo, we learn that they have teleported with this boss to the modern-day Tokyo. And the boss battle happens, and the main character wins, destroying this giant humanoid. And just to play up how silly this ending was supposed to be, 2 fighter jets fly in and blow up the main character and the dragon with missiles. But
wait, is this like a fantasy game, or is this like a mix of fantasy?
It's a fantasy game, and they got teleported to our world, to real life modern day Tokyo, like the characters did. And so they're like, "Where are we at?"
Oh.
And so they're still like the characters from this fantasy world, and they're like, "What? Are we in the land of the gods?" And like, it's yes. But
I was so confused.
Yeah.
Fighter jets are blowing up dragons?
But the villain is dead, and as it dies, it breaks into small pieces floating to the ground called maso. Now, maso causes a disease to us humans called white chlorination syndrome, or WCS. When infected with this, you are forced to choose death by turning into a statue of salt, or make a pact with a god from another dimension, turning into one of their servants called the Legion.
Wow, that's a rough disease.
Yeah. Now, Nier is set in a world where this Legion and the disease are a major problem. Many are trying to come up with a solution, and one was pretty much successful. They just needed to work out the kinks. They would remove people from their...
Kill it all.
They would need to remove people from their bodies, preserving their souls and sapience. They would separate them until the WCS was eradicated and then reunite them. Now, these souls ripped from their bodies were called gestalts. When gestalts were made, they also created from the memory and data of the gestalt a replicant or a replica of that soul's body. Now, if you don't want spoilers for the game, I would skip till around like the 30-minute mark, because it's about to get really cool and crazy, and probably for the rest of this talk I'll be spoiling Nier Replicant, and Nier Automata. Now,
how new is this
replicants
game? Have I seen this on Steam?
Well, Nier Replicant literally so Nier Replicant is a remaster of the original Nier game that came out on like I think Xbox 360.
Yeah, I see it on Steam.
And then Nier Automata came out 2017, 2016, and it like won a bunch of awards. It did incredibly well and kind of brought this game series.
I remember looking at it because it looks super good.
It is really good. I love the game. And I really want to play Nier Replicant after I did all this research. So the replicants were led by 2 advanced androids and were sent to eradicate the WCS. But tragedy struck because these replicants began to develop sentience. And from what it sounded like in my research, once again, I will say major spoiler here, the main character, literally called Nier, is one of these sentient replicants. And they are actually being led to complete the actions to try and save the gestalts, who are starting to go mad and relapsing. So, the black shadowy figure that are gestalts actually attack Nier and just innocent people throughout the game because they are relapsing and going mad. And it seems that the people are afraid of them, believing that they are monsters trying to take over their bodies. Now, they aren't really wrong about that because they are the bodies for the gestalts to take over, but they just have sentience now. So they all believe that the souls that were originally in them, they're like, no, these are horrible monsters that want to take us over. Now, the system that keeps replicants alive and continually replicates them relies on a mutual system, for the data for the body lies in the Gestalt, and the power required for it is given by one called the Shadow Lord and his Maso. Keeps the Gestalt.
He sounds like a bad dude.
Stable and sentient. Not totally. I'm not going to spoil who he is, but I don't think he's that bad. But I might just be reading. In the end of Nier Replicant, the main character, as Nier, can, and I think canonically does, kill Shadow Lord. And all the Gestalts left eventually go mad, relapsing.
Aw, rest in peace.
Because their replicant bodies can no longer reform. Now, the Gestalts are what is left of humanity. So pretty much because of what your character does in Nier Replicant, all humanity dies. Now, Nier Automata begins around here. Now, Nier Automata, or Nier Automata, pick up many years after these events, and humanity is long since dead. But the android group...
And these all take place in Tokyo?
Well, it's in our world, but there's been... Like, the Nier Automata is you're clearing the world of these robots after these robot wars that aliens kind of dropped these robots on Earth, and the whole premise of the game is you are trying to clear the Earth so that humanity can come back, and humanity's just escaped to the moon. So once you clear it out, they'll come back from the moon. But as I just told you,
yo, this game is wild.
But as I just told you, humanity's been dead hundreds and hundreds of years before this game even starts. The androids that you the androids that you are a part of are called Yorhai, and they're these androids created for the preservation of humanity and trying to free the world of these robots and of the WCS disease.
Is this disease on the moon too, or no?
Well, no. Humans never made it to the moon. Humans are not on the moon. Humans are dead.
Got it.
Because of what Nier did in the previous game. So,
got it.
You're a member of Yorhai still, and Yorhai still portrays the image of humanity having escaped to the moon, and are living there waiting for the androids to free the world before they can come back. But over the game, you find out that humanity is dead, and the higher-ups kept it a secret because it would be a morale killer of having failed your mission so badly that humanity doesn't exist at all anymore. It would be too much for the androids.
I love how they're worried about killing morale and, not humanity being gone.
Oh, no, they super worry about that. But they realize that they still have a job to do clearing out the world of these enemy robots.
It's just funny.
Yeah, but the story of the game is the robots start acting weird, and you kind of have to make decisions on what does that mean? Like, they're learning, clearly.
What do you mean acting weird?
Like, they begin to stop attacking you. And they kind of, like, some of them are actually showing signs of being able to talk with you. Like, the game is awesome, and it's kind of dealing with what is sapience and what is sentience. What do these people, what does this mean? What constitutes a life and whatnot, and is...
The classic question about automation.
It's so good. It's such a good game, dude. But so that's all really I had for Nier and Drakengard this week. And I thought we could use this kind of idea of this tragedy that happened from killing this boss in one of these games, and kind of think about what happened or what were the circumstances around our major deity dying. Like, what did that mean and change the world? Or just So
we're talking about the evil deity, I'm assuming?
Yes, yeah, the evil deity when he was imprisoned. Like, what did that mean? How did that happen? Does it have any repercussions on the modern day? And maybe it even relates to, like, we wanted to do steampunk this time. So maybe it even relates to, like, how they got that technology and where they're at, where they are now.
Yeah, or at least a part steampunk. I don't know if I want the whole thing to be steampunk, but maybe just, like, a few... I like the idea of, like, a few advanced steampunk civilizations, or even more of, like, a I can't remember the movie. I don't remember if it's Castle of the Wind or
Princess Mononoke.
That doesn't sound right. No. Valley of the Wind, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. And then there's Castle in the Sky. I can't remember if it's one of those two, but it's like an advanced civilization that's like destroyed and ruined, and people are starting to uncover and find it. And I like that idea of like a steampunk civilization that is like long gone, like maybe the Wizards Kingdom or whatever. That's like long gone. People are like discovering it and uncovering its secrets and technologies.
Yeah.
I love that kind of concept, especially like, and then you can have the party like go and explore it and like find stuff about it. But yeah, okay. Let's figure out how the heck this god, what happened to this god? Is he still around? What did he do?
So I think we for sure
thinking?
They're imprisoned. Like the lesser deities were
I
imprisoning them, but I don't know how that happened. Was it like a major war?
I mean, I would assume, right? So like, if the gods killed the last king, well, first let's discuss. Okay, before we even discuss this, let's go into how did when the kings were created, because this is going to be a major part in this. When the kings were created, we said they were like a piece of the evil god.
Yes.
So like, if a failsafe for if he were to get destroyed or lose, that if they are somehow able to be resurrected, how does that work? Because I think that's important to discuss when we do this. How does that work? What do we want that to look like?
Well, so okay, we had the idea of they would have to do these tasks to kind of awaken the person or like release their energy. We said something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm thinking that releasing their energy, in quotation marks, is releasing the part of this ancient deity. And maybe it's even like this physical like gem or piece of rock or kind of like a puzzle piece that kind of connects together with all the other items inside the other kings.
Didn't we also, somewhat along these lines, didn't we also say like if all these energies were released, that it would create like it would open the cage that he was trapped in or something?
Yeah, so that was the purpose of it, is to pretty much open the cage, free the deity, give them the power to free themselves.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's pretty tropey though, but I like that idea.
But how you get there is not very tropey.
No, it's not. Yeah. If all the kings release whatever energy or whatever, they essentially unlock his prison. But how? So okay, the reason I want to discuss this is because if we have the gods killing him, how does he get his energy? Like, how does he make the key? These kings, when the gods are the ones who sealed him away.
Well, so that's I think then we have to go killed. We have to go killed, and then by putting these together, it like revives them. Like maybe they went to like maybe it was like a lich, where they release that kind of smoke, go into their phylactery, and are slowly rebuilding themselves. And maybe it's the key to the phylactery. So by getting the energy from each of them, you can open the phylactery before it's ready, before he's fully healed up to his full power. And that's how that's why they can defeat him, and that's why the party wants to open it now and not later.
Yeah, I like this idea. We also decided that one of the kings, which is the Nice King, right? The Nice King
has his is
also like the spirit of him.
Yes.
So do we want him to have been killed, but his spirit managed to escape and essentially like embed itself into the Nice King, and then if all the magics are released, it allows the spirit to return to its dead body?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good route to go, and I think that's pretty.
Yeah. So we're gonna have the phylactery thing that he ran to be the good king.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay, that works. That's cool.
Because then, if they kill... So what happens if the party kills the Nice King? Does he just... the spirit go away and die, or what?
No, I think there's a few fail-safes, like a few people that he would go into. Maybe it's any of the maybe it's any of the kings that have this part of him that they have to unleash. Maybe by killing someone who has the current soul of them, he just transfers to the next.
Yeah, just kind of makes his way from king to king.
Yeah.
And these are his, 9 fail-safes, his 9, phylacteries, or his Horcruxes, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, his mighty 9
so, yeah, I like
Horcruxes.
Yes, Mighty Nine. No, I didn't even think that we have Mighty Nine in this already.
Yeah, we have a lot of nines, 9 kingdoms, 9 fail-safes.
Yeah, nice. Great. Nice. Cool. All right, so now we have to get to the event itself. So now that we kind of hash this out a little bit. Mm-hmm. What happened? What did the gods do? Yeah, I mean, we got to go step by step. So if King Arthur with his sword came, lost to the gods.
Well, yeah, so that's the
then
thing.
what
That was the
happened?
thing that we had to be a requirement. That's why they didn't step up earlier, because they created this weapon specifically with the ability to take on the god. They didn't know the god was evil at the time. They just kind of worried that he might be, based on like things that they'd said and things that they kind of joked about. And so they're like, what if they're evil? Like, let's create something to kind of like protect against that. Like, so humanity can fight back. And so they put it in the world. King Arthur found it, and it did devastating power to them. But when they got it back, they finally had the power to take on the greater deity.
Okay, I like this. I kind of want to revise a little bit though, why the gods created this weapon.
Okay, so it wasn't because they feared that he was evil?
I don't know. I want it to be something different.
Okay.
I want it to be something strange. I mean, it's obviously creating a weapon and shield combo type thing is obviously for like defense or fighting. But do we even want the gods? Because the evil deity created these gods. Do we even want the like good pantheon to know that the evil god exists?
Well, they know they were created.
Do they though?
Do you want it to be like they think that? Well, because I'm just thinking of how this would work, because they have the kings are told that they will be granted godhood. Those gods were removed around that time so that all they could do is sit and watch. Is that when they first come in contact with their creator, or when they're like,
okay, here's a question.
Okay.
This is an important question.
Yes.
How involved do we want the evil god to be in this?
What do you mean?
Do we want him to be a figure that is just watching and overseeing?
That's
or
what
do
we
want
had
like
it
a
as.
figure
That's
who's
what we
like,
had it as. So he kind of took joy in the watching these people fight each other.
Well, do we want him to be like just watching from the sidelines, or do we want him to be like what if he pretended to also be part of this pantheon?
Yes, I like that.
So like he's actively just screwing things up.
Well, so that's the thing. I thought we made this pantheon huge. This pantheon was thousands of people of members, and they all kind of just lived and did things around the kind of world with these 9 kingdoms.
Right.
So what is this king?
I like the idea.
Messing
I
up?
like the idea of him. Yeah, I like the idea of him like almost like a Greek mythology where like Greek gods come down as like disguised as humans and stuff. But the evil god essentially descends into the pantheon himself and disguises himself as part of the pantheon.
Yeah.
Just to be closer, to observe closer, to screw things over, to throw wrenches in people's plans, to just mess things up. And what I'm thinking is that the pantheon somehow catch wind of this. Like to somehow discover that the evil god has like masqueraded as one of them, and they discover that he's some sort of like ancient entity that's overall over everything, and that they were actually created by him for this very purpose.
Okay.
And so then we kind of tie into your idea of them creating a weapon. They can't really kill each other, or they can't really kill this entity, so they created this weapon to give to humanity in order to kill him.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sort of. I just didn't. It doesn't feel very different from what we already had. But yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not super different, but I just was kind of, I guess, fleshing out why they did this instead of just like they thought this big, huge evil entity was evil. Mm-hmm. Instead, I was thinking he like masquerades as one of them for a long time, and they somehow discover that he is like ruining things, or so then my next question would be, how would the gods like discover if this evil entity came down as like disguised as their pantheon? How would they discover he's like an evil ancient entity?
He's killing people.
Yeah, just you're dead.
Oh,
I don't know,
maybe
because I kind of
okay,
want
maybe
want
he's
this pantheon to be just like a jumbled mess of,
jumbled mess of
I don't
what?
know, like a Greek pantheon, just like total drama and
So you think
yeah,
he's like causing this drama, like playing on it? Like, oh, you
yeah,
heard Deborah over there. She's been cheating on her husband and like all those
right.
things.
Like while he's watching the humanity kill themselves, he's
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm kind of getting bored of this too, so I'm gonna kind of descend down as a member of the pantheon and start messing around with the pantheon just for fun until the time comes where they fight the humanity. Like he's just this like chaotic evil entity, and so then he starts like sowing chaos in the pantheon.
Mm-hmm.
The question is how would the pantheon discover that he is like some sort of evil entity that like
Well, so I was
created
thinking
them?
they were
Or
doing evil
or do we want to
rituals.
stick with they know that
He
he's
creates
been
a
created?
cult under him
Like,
that it does like takes powerful people from the other gods' religious groups and has to kill them, sacrifice them, and he thinks that's just funny. And the people that are like have their clerics and paladins stolen are like they start investigating, and then they find out about this cult, and maybe they're able to get some of them to talk.
okay, I like this idea. I think what we should do is we should combine the pantheon with humanity. So and I'll explain what I mean by that. So we had that the pantheon can't. Why can't the pantheon go and interact with humanity during this like Nine Kingdoms war? The evil god just like locked them away in their own plane, essentially.
Yep.
Like they're just
Yep.
stuck there.
And so they could only view the plane.
Okay, what if some of the pantheon managed to like figure out a way past this like blockade, this like their prison essentially, and when like some of them descend down, a few of them or whatever, they start like figuring out why these nine kingdoms are at war, because to them it's kind of mysterious why the heck these nine kingdoms just all of a sudden started attacking and killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the pantheon doesn't like understand or see, like everybody was flourishing and prosperous and we were helping and we were active part in their lives, and then all of a sudden we're locked in, and these nine kingdoms are fighting and killing each other.
Okay, so it doesn't. So he doesn't. So then the god doesn't need to be a part of the pantheon. He doesn't need to pretend that because it doesn't matter. They don't find out till later. They don't find out till the Nine Kingdoms War when they are locked away, and they're like, "Why are we locked away?" Some escape, get down to the earth, find out why, report that back,
Yeah.
and then they decide to try to make a weapon to fight this deity. When they're doing that, they are discovered, hide the weapon, all of them are slaughtered. Eventually King Arthur finds it.
So yes, so I like this. Yeah, but I think I still want the evil god to descend into the pantheon just as like because he's bored, because it's fun. Like he's super, I don't like cocky and evil and arrogant that like, yes, he knows that he thinks he knows that the pantheon can't escape this like place that he's put him in, but like, it's just fun to go down and harass the pantheon, like stir up a little bit of trouble and evil within the pantheon,
Mm-hmm. Maybe he...
so
Okay,
he's kind of
hold on.
doing this out
I
of-
want to add to this. So,
Yes.
because of... He's bored and he likes to go down and kind of mess with the pantheon.
This guy's so evil.
So, because of this, he decides to... when the pantheon is locked away, he still keeps up his appearance of, oh, I'm just one of you guys.
Right.
So when
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
hears them all be like, oh, we got to get out there. Like, what's going on? He actually is the one to come up with the idea and goes with the first group, like sneaking, quotation marks, sneaking out. And so he lets them do this and lets them find out about him because he thinks it's fun.
I like this. I like this a lot.
And so then once they are like in the middle of creating this, he like kills them all. But one of them is able to escape long enough to hide the weapon.
Yeah, like he goes down. So what I'm thinking is I want him to be a very powerful ancient entity, but these pantheon and these gods are also very strong. So what I'm thinking is that maybe the first group that escapes, the evil god doesn't know about. right? So he's just masquerading around in the pantheon until he starts to figure out, like, hey, a few of the gods are missing. Like, why are a few of the gods missing? And so he starts, like, investigating within the pantheon, trying to figure out where they have gone. And then he takes, like, a second squad to go and, like, you know, help create this weapon. And that's when he comes and kills them. So, like, it starts off where these gods, like, secretly get out of some of them secretly get out of this, like, you know, heaven realm or whatever, like Mount Olympus, essentially.
Yeah.
And he starts, like, realizing that people are gone. Like, some of these, you know, some of the gods are gone. And that kind of leads him down this whole thing where he starts finding out where they went. And then he comes down, he comes down, well, because I like the idea of him, like, having to, like, he, like, lets them figure out who he is. I like that idea. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, like,
But no, so okay.
Like, once he starts discovering,
I think
yeah, go.
I think he always knows, like, okay, he creates the bubble wherever they're in. He creates, like, failure points because he does want some to escape. Because he knows they will find out. But then all the stuff you said happens where they go down, they escape. He doesn't know yet, but he learns soon enough and goes with, like, the second wave, and they all meet up. They tell them, oh, we've been working on this weapon to defeat and they tell him all about that, like, about the greater deity, about all these things, and he kills most of them, maybe leaving, like, one alive and, like, forcing them back up into the heavens to kind of tell the rest of the pantheon what has just happened, and, like, laughs at them.
What if he even rides this out a little bit more? Like, what if he, like, frames another god as being the evil entity too? Like, what if he rides this out even more instead of...
Oh, maybe he doesn't even say. Maybe. Oh, okay. He kills all of the people down on the planet. Kills all of
he returns.
Yes, he is the one who returns as the messenger.
Right.
And then he doesn't give them good details. He gives them enough details that they're suspicious of each other, but there's no proof of who it could be. There's not enough evidence.
Exactly.
And so they all begin
he
to,
rides,
like,
this out even longer.
Maybe there's even, like, a internal god war, or like a civil war of some sort between the gods at this time.
I like it to be more of just, like, drama god.
Okay, more drama.
You know, like, not quite fighting.
Yeah.
But talking behind backs, deals behind backs, you know, like, this kind of stuff. Like,
we know it's you, like, total Hermes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they just descend into total drama.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say it's
just
an island of total drama.
Because he's somewhat bored now of this war that's going on between the 9 kingdoms.
You could say it's an island of total drama.
No. But yeah, I think that's funny.
Yeah, I think that's good.
In a horrible, evil way.
No, you just
what
think it's funny.
I like
Let's
about this
honest,
too is
Aaron.
that he's so evil and arrogant that he doesn't actually realize that it's also causing his demise.
Yeah, because they're all beginning to plan, like, they don't even know who it is, but they're planning against whoever it is. And so that's when they kind of get enough power to take him on. They don't know who it is yet until the very end when he's like, fine, now you face the last kingdom. And that's when he reveals himself. And that's when...
How does he even do that? Well, let's discuss how he does that. Like, what is that? How does that even work? How does he, like, reveal himself?
I think it's just like a classic ascension. I don't think it needs to be anything too fancy. I like to think that this evil deity is like, I don't need a show. I am powerful enough. I don't need to look amazing. I just want enjoyment out of these people. And so it's not even something big. He just raises up out. He easily exits the place, shows his true form, and then opens up a tunnel just small enough for the armies of King Arthur to enter heaven.
Yeah, how does he, like, have them enter heaven? And what do you think he would, like... So, do you think he would, like, reveal himself before the armies enter?
No, I think he reveals himself.
I love the idea of him,
reveals himself
standing on the front lines of this battle that's ready to unfold, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm just not feeling it. like... He's with them the whole time, like, you know, he's like, look, the
King
the
Arthur's
men are
here.
invading our lands. Like they've found a way. Like maybe he's even created the way up to heaven.
Oh, he definitely did.
Like
he
look,
definitely
they
did.
found a passage up to our realm. Like we need to muster our defenses and be ready to eliminate humanity because they're gonna kill us all. And then, like as the battle's about to start, he's just like, I mean, it was fun knowing you guys. It really was. Yeah. Like, but it's really been me the whole time. And then he just watches humanity fight the gods.
Yep.
As it's too late for them to do anything about it.
Okay, now on to what the topic was. How is he defeated? How is this major evil deity defeated?
So obviously the gods kill the army of humanity. They get the blade, I'm assuming, and they strike him down, right? That's what we kind of want. Is that what we're thinking? Somewhere around those lines? I mean, obviously we got to flesh it out, but that's kind of the base that we're going with, or do we want something different?
That works if we want that.
You think you sound like you want something different?
No, it just I want something. I want it to like in my past world, Sophroia, the Conet literally had scars and wounds from the gods battling. Like I want there to be some sort of visual thing that they can see for most of the campaign, and they only learn like the true significance of it as they need it, when they all of a sudden need it, and they're like, that's what that is. And like I always like those types of things where it's like they kind of can tell, and maybe some of them even ask like for their backstory, like, hey, what's this interesting place over here? And they're like, oh, I'd like to be a part of that. And like something that can draw their eyes before you tell them about it.
What if we went a slightly different route than what we had just discussed?
Okay.
And instead of the evil god like creating a pathway up, he like destroyed, like he sabotaged the realm that the gods lived on, and it crashed onto humanity, and then humanity attacked them.
Interesting. I like that.
And then there's like a big scar, or even even maybe like some sort of,
okay,
I don't know, there could be anything.
Well, okay,
like
so
a giant mountain crashed onto the ground. Who knows?
I say we take from like our second episode, Karsus's Folly, where their floating cities all fell, and it created the desert below. And so maybe it's like there's an incredibly lush land, and just in like the middle of the continent, there is this just giant desert.
Yeah, like a huge...
Like, it shouldn't be a desert. It should clearly
be... Like a Death Valley type thing?
Yeah, it should clearly be some, like, really lush land because of everything around it. But it's not. It's a desert because of the destruction.
What other interesting land form could it be instead of a desert? Like, what else? I mean, we could do, like, a wasteland. I don't want a wasteland, though.
Snow? Some sort of magic event caused the snow? A storm?
I think I like desert, like a desert, Death Valley, more than I like snow.
What about a storm?
I like storms.
Like a tornado, or...
But why would a sabotaged thing cause a storm?
The magic energies released in it, like there's a constant electrification of the area. So maybe it even becomes hard to use like weapons in it. Maybe like weapons are affected by this. Like maybe they do more damage, or like there's an electrification in the air that seems to affect metal.
My first immediate thought, and this is going to sound weird, but I read a book a long time ago, middle school, maybe, but essentially it was kind of like a Jack and the Beanstalk type thing, except for their world was like an upside down top. I may have talked about this on the podcast before, but I loved this book. But essentially there was like layers of cliffs, and the main character essentially climbs up because they're always told never to go up on top of these cliffs. Nobody knows what's up there though, but they're always told never to go up there, and the main character ends up like climbing up these cliffs, so like these huge massive cliffs. So what I kind of like the idea of like what if there's like a big plateau or something from the landmass that crashed, that's like always like there's even like a folklore, like a folk tale of never go up to there because that's apparent, like that's where the gods abandon humanity, or like that type of thing. So there's this like haunting, I mean, maybe even mountain range, essentially. It's like plateau or mountain range that's in the distance that like never go beyond that, never pass that, never climb that, because that is where the gods had abandoned humanity or whatever.
Huh. I think that's interesting. I like that. Like, there's this plateau in the middle of the whole continent, and just like it's
Like never go up there because that is, some sort of folklore that you would create. Whether it's that's where the gods abandon humanity, or that's like, because I think that would be really fun, because that would be like an interesting, it would create curiosity, first of all, in the party, because like they've always, like everyone in this world has been told, like, never go up there. Like, never. I mean, this world would be huge, though, but there would just be like a section, that is this huge plateau, this like huge jagged cliffs and canyon network that kind of rises up to this top plateau, and nobody has ever been up there because that is like desecrated or something. Like that is a place no one goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool.
Because that's where the evil god essentially I don't want to say blow up, but he blew up the realm of the gods, and it came crashing down. Like this Mount Olympus came crashing down onto the earth, creating this huge this like plateau in the middle of nowhere that kind of doesn't fit in. I mean, I think things would like form around it, but it's just different, and you're told never to go up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is where King Arthur lies. That's where he's dead. So they have to go up there eventually.
Yes, that's cool.
Because he stormed up there to fight the gods. Like that's how the army got up there. Is the evil god like crashed the realm into the ground, and then humanity stormed up the plateau.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. Now, how okay?
That'd be so. I mean, so many deaths, like climbing up a giant cliff, like with your huge army, and like they use dragons to like ferry people up on top of the cliffs, stuff like that, to like go and attack and ascend.
Now, how did the evil deity die? Or
we're still not there.
Yeah, I'm trying to move us there, Aaron. And you keep going. Hey, wait, but what about how the lesser deities attack? And I'm like, Aaron, we got one thing. We're trying to do one thing.
I'm too ADD.
Our episodes have been like this for like this whole season. Or like
since forever.
Hey, let's make one thing. Oh no, but what about these 3 other things first? Then we can make that.
Then we can make one thing. All right, we got 10 minutes for one thing. Here we go. How did he die? What are your thoughts?
Oh, starting with me on this one? Okay. Golly. His death.
I mean, it's hard. Like, how do you kill a huge ancient evil entity?
How do you... Like, he's way more powerful than all of the lesser deities combined. So...
My first quick thought was King Arthur actually kills him, but in doing so, he dies himself.
I don't quite understand that one.
So the gods didn't actually kill him. King Arthur does, because like he, as he's like fighting the gods, he sees this figure who essentially is just like hovering over the giant battle, and it kind of like he comes to this realization that he's actually not going to get godhood. And so
he's like, I'm not going to win at all.
Yep.
So if I'm not going to win, then I'm going to at least like take this dude out.
Well, yeah, and he has this like moment of revelation of like
looking around, seeing his armies destroyed already,
like all of his people dying, because he's not a bad dude either. Like all of his people dying, all of humanity dying, the gods that have been with them for forever, are now we're now fighting and killing these beings that have helped us for centuries. And he kind of like has this crisis moment where he realizes that the evil god has tricked him the whole time.
Yeah.
And so he maybe even like forms this cool like coalition of gods and humanity to like
I don't want it to be like a dying man's final like last man stand, and maybe like one or 2 gods go with him, but like because they see what he's doing, they realize what's happening in the moment. But I want it to be in the middle of a war, like a battle, not like, oh, we have time, let's talk it out, let's figure out what we're gonna do. I want it to be heat of the moment.
Well, I was
looking around, everybody's dead, you just look at the man you hate and charge.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking still in the middle of the battle, but what a part of me was thinking, and again, we don't have to do this, so if you want to say no, definitely we can do that. But what I was thinking is like somehow he, during this like moment of revelation, he like convinces a couple of gods or something to like do this, like look at what's happening to us. And him and like four gods or something, like the four gods make this distraction as he then like kills the evil deity. But in doing so, he dies or something.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought of having it be the battle is essentially over and King Arthur is like the last, like he's virtually dead, like he's going to die, and the evil god descends down and was like watching him, and King Arthur's like, "Are you going to grant me godhood so I can survive?" And the evil deity says no, like no, and then King Arthur just stabs him like with his last energy and last strength, like attacks him. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
But I think I like in the middle of a battle. I think I like the glorious. He rides his dragon up to the top of where this entity is, as it's like
I like the idea of like
and humanity
two
fight.
of the gods distract the deity while he stabs them in the back.
Yeah, while he finishes it. I think that's what I want to go with.
Well, I think that's where we can end it for this episode of 31 of Dungeoneered.
Episode 31?
Yep.
I always am surprised at what episode we're on every week, even though it's just one after.
More every week.
I'm always like, wow, we've done 31 episodes?
One more than last week's 30?
Yeah, last week
Crazy.
we did 30.
Well, if you listen to our podcast on any podcasting app that has any reviews, rate and review us. Helps us really get people to listen to the show. And thank you for those of you who've listened to our show. We've been committed to doing this every week, and it's a lot of fun to make, but it's a lot of fun to make it for an audience. So thank you.
Yeah, it's even more fun to make it for people who listen, for sure.
Yeah. Well, as I always say, make sure to be the sharpest barrel in the bunch. See you next time.
That pause always gets me. I'm always going to say bye, and then you pause, and then say, see you next time. And then I have to wait even longer before I say, bye?
Bye.
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 Bye.